This is a demo to help you with B1, the Access to Intro for our Advanced Computer Applications course. So hopefully this will help you to understand a little bit better how to do this level of creating databases. So you're going to start off, you should have already created a new database, saved it to your folder and named it Vacation and your last name. And it's going to open with an automatic table. I like to delete these. I'm going to actually just create this table from a design. So we're going to be creating two tables in the first part of this. You're going to set up your table with one table that's going to be called vacay codes. So I'm just going to right click and put that in there. And the vacay codes table, oh, it won't let me save it yet. Let's put some things in here, is going to have a code field name. And this will be a short text field. This is going to be our primary key. So we need to make sure that we have our primary key clicked up here so that we have the little key next to our row. And then we're going to type in description, and that will also be a short text. Okay. Now, one thing to note is with the code field, we want this just to be one single character. So at the bottom in the field properties section, we're going to set the field size to 1. And remember that there are lots of things down here at the bottom, such as setting a default value for something or changing what shows at the top of the tables by using caption. Different things like that that are provided here at the bottom. Okay, so we've got the first table here. Now we can name this vacay codes. And then we're going to close that table out and create a second table. Again, I'm just preferring to do this in design view. This will be the customers table. We're going to have customer ID here, and that's going to be an auto number field. Once again, a primary key field. And then we're going to have a first name in camel case, where you capitalize the first letter of each important word there. Last name, same story, and vacation ID. And none of these have space bars in them, and they're all going to be short text. So we're going to save this here as customer ID. It's important that everything is set up correctly because we are going to be connecting these tables in a moment. Now, I'm going to save this one, and our next step is to import some information that's already created from this Excel spreadsheet. Now you're just going to click this and open it up in Google and immediately just download it. You're going to go to File, Download, and download that as a Microsoft Excel file because we do not use Google files in Microsoft. So download that Excel file. And then once you have downloaded that file, you will be ready to import that as a new table. So when we go back to our database, we're getting external data, and that source is from a spreadsheet file. So we're going to pop in here, and now we're going to go browse to locate that file that we just downloaded. So I've got that in my folder, Intro Support Vacations. Now it actually has multiple tabs in it, and you'll see in a moment whenever we connect this that it's going to ask us which one we want. So in our instructions, we're going to import this as a new table. So where it says import the source into a new table, we will choose that. Now later we'll use this again to append, which means to add a copy of records into an existing table. But for now, we're going to make sure we have the right one there, and then we're going to hit OK. And this time you can see here's the 3 worksheets. Now we're going to use the vacations worksheet, so the top one. And then we're going to start going through our wizard steps. Hit next. We do have column headings, so we want to make sure we check mark that. And then all of these, you can do these here or you can wait and do it in design view, but you can go ahead and verify that vacation ID is a short text. It will be the primary key field. You're going to have package, which is going to be short text, destination, which is going to be short text, and all of those should be. The one that may not be set to the right thing is going to be your price, and that needs to be currency. So let's change that down to currency. It'll put the dollar signs in so we don't have to, and then here that code is short text. Let's go ahead and hit next. We do not want access to add a primary key because, as we stated before, vacation ID is going to be our primary key field because that's the unique field for each. We're going to hit next. And we're making this new table called vacations, so that name is appropriate. We're going to hit finish, and we do not need to save the import steps. But if you double click now, you have a vacations table that already has information entered into it. So super handy there. All right. The next part of this is where it gets a tiny bit confusing. And so do pay close attention or rewind this and watch it again if you have trouble the first time. So what we're going to do is we are going to create an input mask. And we're going to do that for that vacations table. So we're going to go in here for this vacations ID field. An input mask is the thing that automatically would put the dash in here when we type these. Or like in a social security number or a phone number, it would automatically put in the symbols. So in order to do that, we are going to switch into our design view. So I'm going to right click and pop into design view. And we're going to be making this on that vacation ID field because that's that first field. We're going to go down to the bottom to input mask and all the way to the right here in our field properties, we're going to press these three dots, which is the builder button or it launches the wizard. And so we have the input mask wizard and you're going to see on here that I have some that are in here. But if you don't have one for the code yet for the vacation ID, we're going to have to make one. So we're going to hit edit list. And then this list has, mine has 5 in it right now. So I'm going to go to my 6th one and then I'm going to make it. So I might call it vacation ID list because that's what that is. And then the input mask is going to be this thing that's already typed in for you, which stands for the exclamation mark has to do with the direction the numbers go in. The A's can be letters or numbers, and then the dash, and then a 0, which stands for numbers. Zeros are only numbers and letters are letters or numbers that we can put in there. So if I type in LLLLL, oops, my placeholder is going to be an underscore, sorry. And then my sample data, if I were to type in all of these, it won't let me type an L there because that has to be a number, right? So you can test it out down there. Yahoo 1, or whatever. So you just want to test it out, make sure it all works. This is what it needs to look like. And then you're going to hit close and that will add that one in there. So then you're going to go find your vacation ID list and you're going to hit next. And then here, it's just going to say, here's the format. Is that right? You're like, yep. Placeholder character, underscore. Yep. You could try it again if you want. Hit next. And then here is the critical part here. Store it with the symbols because they're already typed in there with a dash, the other ones. So our new ones also need to be stored with those dashes because they're already typed in for the ones that are there. So be sure you store the symbols and hit next and finish. Now you're going to see this code looks a little different down here based on the dashes and all that stuff. So I'm going to switch back to the other view and save if prompted. And then now if I try to type in the next one, see how it pops up? It's already got the input mask in there for me. So the one that we're going to type in is VACMTN for like Vacation Mountain and the number 1. And then the rest of this, you can just copy and paste if you want to. You don't have to, you don't have to type it in, but base camp, I can't even type in base camp, Boulder, excursion, flight and lodging, and then Boulder, Colorado, 2 adults, 7 nights, and then don't type the $sign here because it's a currency field, 1364. And then A, wow, not 13,645, 1364. Okay, so there we go. That's what we need here. We're going to save this one and close it. And then our last part for this video is we are going to import again from that other spreadsheet. So we're going to go to external data and new data, and from file, that same Excel file as before. So go grab it again. But this time, our instructions are to append a copy of the records to a table that we already have, which is the vacay codes table. Now, this is going to come from a different tab of this. So when we click OK, we don't want the vacation ones, we want the code list this time. So these are those codes, the A, the B, the C. These are the codes. We're going to hit next. Once again, it has headings already. That's marked. And then we import it to the table because that table already knows the format for all of those because we already have the table made, right? Hit finish and close. And if we look in vacay codes, we now have all those. If you recall, we didn't put any of those in there before. And then we're going to add one more, an N, and that's going to be for non-classified. Okay. That's it for this first video. In our next video, we will create a relationship between these tables.